Episode 10.
Yes, episode 10. Welcome.
Episode 10. Welcome. Here we are.
We got it right this time, I'm sure.
I think so. Thanks for writing them down.
Yeah.
So, what's going on, David? Long time, no talk.
I know, right? A lot. I've been working on some things in the background, trying to pivot based on what's happening in the world right now.
What is happening in the
Trying
world?
to what do you mean what's happening? Well, today is what, March 25th? Yeah, March 25th, 2020. So, the virus is going around. Everybody's working from home, so on and so forth. I've been keeping myself active, moving around, and moving, eating healthy as much as I can. Even though I'm a snack fiend. Yeah, how about yourself?
Well, I've been doing a little experiment, which with nutrition, with food, which is just eating a normal diet, right? So since there's a lot of family time right now, eating a lot of what the family's eating, not eating my normal diet. And I have managed to go up 10 pounds, I think, or 8 to 10 pounds, depends what time you weigh me. So now what I'm doing is the reverse. So now I'm going to go back on my diet, and I'm going to
See what happens.
I'm going to see if in 3 to 5 days I'm going to lose those pounds, because like easy come, easy go type thing.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
I'm just going to see that, but I haven't been exercising the same as I have before, just because
Well, that's a variable that you need to consider.
Yeah, that is a variable I need to consider, but I can imagine that just because I'm not working out, that I don't know how much that combination is affecting, right? The combination of eating a different diet and not doing the same amount of exercise, because I am hypothetically kiteboarding more and not doing the gym, because I wasn't always doing kiteboarding. So now I've been kiteboarding every day either way. So there is some burning of calories happening there. But in any case, I do believe, just in case we want to go into a little bit further detail, I do look at what comes out of me, and from what I'm putting in to what's coming out is not adding up, right? With this normal food. Normally with like vegetables and fruits, like I'm like, oh, okay, yeah, that makes sense. Like I maybe ate this much and like this much came out. But now like you're putting in bigger portions. Let's say, you're eating like heavier stuff like potatoes or rice and things like that. But like these smaller portions are coming out. So I'm like, where did the rest go? So I think it's somewhere in there, and I'm gonna find it. I'm gonna get it out. So they can't hide for long. But
Good
something
luck.
along these lines. Yeah, no, it'll come out. But it's just interesting, right? So you can tell a little bit of differences here and there, and also a lot of fruits and vegetables are more like moist in a way. So things come out like I think a little bit different than when you're eating like things that are a little bit drier and like let's just say cooked, like it's just sometimes it's drier. So
yeah, I got you. I understand.
Yep. So anyways, just been messing around with that just for fun. And that's the part of nutrition that's interesting, is that once you start understanding like what you put in, what you put out, or what should come out, and you just start playing around and realizing things. I'm still alkaline though, that's a whole other conversation. So that's also a factor that I've realized. But because usually if you eat meats or you eat things that are not vegetables and fruits, essentially, they're like not alkaline. I don't drink sodas and things like that, but or they're more acidic. So I've been eating like slightly more acidic meals just because of what's being served, and I'm still staying on the alkaline side, so that is a factor. But I am always drinking. I managed to find a source of coconut water during these coronavirus times.
That's good, man. Good
So
for you. I haven't drinking coconut water in like months.
Yep, but real coconut water too. That's the difference, right?
I know. I feel you.
Yeah, I managed to get 18 coconuts chopped, so I got like 2 to 3 days of coconut water supply. Because
Nice.
actually, I don't drink normal like distilled water really frequently. Like I actually don't like it at all. I usually only drink like some sort of vegetable or fruit juice that is like real, like that I make it myself, right? Not
Yeah.
a carton orange
But what do you mean?
juice.
Okay. Yeah.
What do I mean by what?
No. Distilled water. Do you mean just normal water, or do you mean like
Yeah,
the
like normal
special
water.
distilled water? Okay.
No, like in general. So I did this experiment. I stopped it because I ran out of there's no more watermelons in the market, and the coconut water guy just didn't show up for like a week. But I think around maybe I don't know, 3 months or 4 months of just like no water, like not drinking
Okay.
water, normal water, right? No bottled water,
Like a
no nothing.
juice fasting kind of, but with still eating.
Yeah, but I'm just saying like there's no point in drinking normal water because
Yeah.
if you have other alternatives, if you don't have any other alternatives, then you got to do what you got to do. But if you have the alternative of like getting coconut water fresh or making watermelon water or watermelon juice, whatever you want to call it, then like these are ideal because they actually have things in it that are good. Like normal water from the gallons or from a water bottle doesn't really have much, right? It's just empty. So this is like a higher.
That's an interesting view, because I mean, considering we are mostly water, and
Yep.
everybody recommends you to drink like, what is it, 8 glasses or something like that, two
Sure.
liters, I think, for the
Yeah,
average
it
person.
depends. Like 2 to 4 depends what you're doing. Sure.
Yeah.
But
Okay.
that's the thing. That's an interesting topic, and what you got to realize is that if everyone is doing something, is it the right thing? And I'm not saying okay, like everyone's breathing, so you shouldn't breathe. I'm not saying that. But what I am saying is that imagine if you had like a good source of fuel and then like a mediocre source of fuel. Which one would you want? Do you want the good one or the mediocre one? So
Valid.
if you can get the good one all the time,
I
it's
mean,
like
don't get me wrong. In your scenario, I would also be drinking coconut water as much as possible. When I visit the Dominican Republic, we have constantly have coconut water to drink. Um, but like most people in most countries can't just get 18 coconuts cut for them because the neighbor got it from their tree or whatever.
no, yeah, that's true. But what you can do is that you can make vegetable juices, you can make fruit
Yeah, of
juices
course, of
and things
course.
like that. So there
I
is
mean, in Germany, you can even buy them. In most countries, you can even buy them. Surprise, surprise. But the thing
yeah,
is, and you
super
have to be
expensive.
careful. Yeah, that's true. It is super expensive. But on the other hand, you can also get super high quality. Like apple juice here in Hamburg is really high quality because we live really close to like the apple farm area, and we can
But do
always
they
get like super high
also mix
quality
it?
pure pressed. No, it's just basically pure apple juice.
It's just basically, or it is.
Well, I mean, you obviously, I think, have to put water in it. I don't know how you make juice per se,
Don't need to add
but
anything.
usually you have to. What do you mean? Chinola juice. How do you make chinola juice? You put a ton of water in it, don't you, to like strain
Ye-
out the juice out of the chinola, for example.
Yeah, so
Mango
that's what
juice, you
some
also
people
add
do.
water. You don't do pure mango, do you? If you make mango juice.
Sure.
All right, that's taking it to another level.
It's the thing is that
Um,
it's thick though, right? It becomes thicker. And this is the other thing.
yeah, yeah, I
Let's say
know.
you want to mix it, you can mix it with coconut water.
Yeah, no, I got you. I feel
If you
you.
want to like liquefy it a little
Yeah.
bit more. That's
So
like another
maybe they
idea.
add water. I have to check, but like it's basically pure apple juice with
Okay.
apple, with water with apple.
Yeah, because for example, that was the thing that I encountered when I was doing juicing is that it's a lot of work to like be juicing fruits. Like, it's so
Oh,
much
oh
work,
yeah,
so much work, so much
100%.
work.
You have to
A lot
buy the
of
fruits,
time.
and in a lot of countries, like the other thing is here, it comes in seasons, right? And if you get something out of season, it's even more expensive.
Yeah.
And in the US, basically everyone I talk to that has visited Europe and the US says that everything is so expensive in the US in terms of fruits and vegetables. So it's expensive and
Yeah.
it takes a lot of time for sure, 100%.
But
So that's why I
so
don't think
that
it's viable for a lot of people.
no, but that's what I was getting to. Like the trick is that you mix it. So like let's say you're making a vegetable juice, you could do like 50% vegetable juice and then 50% coconut water, because coconut water usually doesn't have much of a taste. So you could sort of like increase your ration, I guess, or
Also,
increase your.
also not a bad idea, but coconut water is also usually very expensive. Like it's one of the
If you get
it's more
coconut water
expensive than
there,
fruits. Yeah,
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 forget about it,
yeah,
because it's not. They have to add stuff into it to preserve
yeah,
it, because normal coconut water like this, you,
yeah.
tops, I would leave it
I
for
never
4
liked it.
days.
I never liked the taste of the coconut water in the cartons. It's always
Oh no, it's disgusting. It makes no sense. They gave us some to sample out once, and I was like, keep this. This is a joke. Whoever buys that is joking.
but people buy that, man, en
Yeah,
masse
yeah,
because they
yeah,
don't
but they
know.
don't
They've
understand. They
never
don't look in
had.
the back.
Yeah,
They don't look at the back label and
yeah,
realize, oh, what is this? What is this? What is this? There's like 7 other ingredients than coconut water, and you're like, what am I drinking now? So,
yeah.
anyways, that's sort of like a little bit of a health thing that
Pre
is not
ramble, pre ramble.
a pre-ramble, that there's a lot behind it. So in case anyone is listening to that and they're like trying to figure out, take notes on it, there's a lot behind nutrition, and there's a lot of different ways to go about it. There's no right or wrong way. The important thing is to try to understand as best as possible from a non-biased standpoint, and then sort of decide on your lifestyle and how you like to live your life, to make a plan, like a diet. Everyone always thinks diet's like weight loss, but just like a diet, like your diet, your normal food eating habits.
Yeah.
um
Are you vegetarian? Are you not? Like, how often do you eat this? How
well,
often do you eat that?
it's not only about that. Like, who cares about the whole vegetarian and carnivore and this and that? Like, you decide how you want to play it out, right? But it's good to understand what each thing does to your body, and then understand what you're trying to use your body for, and then see if those two things relate or not.
Yeah.
So, and then it's just doing these tests. Like me right now, I eat the normal stuff. Usually I don't eat meat, but now I'm eating whatever they're making. So I think we had some chicken one day, and I think some day it was like some beef in a like a potato sort of mix. So I'm just doing it just to test, and then I like weigh myself every day, and I'm like, okay, interesting, I'm going up. Oh, interesting, I'm going up. Oh, what came out of me, and I ate this much, and only this came out. And also, usually I would go 3 times a day to the bathroom, right? And I could sort of predict, like, okay, I ate this meal today at 12. Tomorrow at 12, this meal is going to come out most likely. And you're like, how do you know that? So what I would do also sometimes is take activated charcoal, right? Like the black
Ah,
powder,
smart. Yeah,
eat
yeah,
it
yeah,
at the after the meal,
yeah.
and then I would have like normal, 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 and then and then
Black.
that one would come out with like black on it.
Yeah,
So
gotcha.
you could like sort of just tell, like, okay, that's what came out right now. And then now if I saw
You're
this,
basically you're really going into like the Tim Ferriss side of things.
like, does that?
Have you read the 4 Hour Body book? I mean, he takes it a little bit further, quite a bit further. But this sounds like a lot of what Tim Ferriss is doing or was doing was doing.
Yeah. Well, it's just like checking. It's just trying to understand that part of your body, and there's no way that you can't read a 300 word blog on this and be like, yeah, I got it. You got to do these tests, and then with that
Yeah,
you'll
yeah, of
be able
course,
to
because
understand.
every body reacts differently, right? You have maybe different metabolism than I do. Like
Sure.
for me, it might be every 10 hours, or
Yeah.
whatever. So I completely agree. You have to, and as in everything in life, you have to look at what's happening, and then react upon it, right?
Yeah.
You shouldn't just usually take actions for no reason.
No, exact. But that's the whole part, is that people are just missing out on the testing
Yeah,
because they find it boring or whatever it might be. But it's important to test, and I'm not saying going against the grain per se, but I am saying, like, just try things, like don't just do things without thinking about it. It's what we were saying every other talk is sort of being conscious about whatever it is you're doing, and then trying to also optimize yourself to feel better, to I think that's maybe the best, that sort of sums up everything, but to feel better, to perform better, and yeah. But in any
To live
case,
happier.
to live happier, to live better, to prosper, to thrive, yeah, all these things. But you don't know what is thriving if you've never thrived before, and how do you
Yeah, of
thrive if
course.
you've never thrived before? Well, you got to try, and you gotta that's the thing, everything's very subjective, so it's hard to exactly like this is the thing, but
Yeah. In
it's
most cases, it is nutrition and exercise, those two things.
yeah, and also stress can play a role, like healthy
Of course.
and negative stress, like bad stress and good stress can play a role in that. But and during these times, there's probably a lot of bad stress going on, so I can imagine a lot of people are going to put on a lot of weight. A lot of people are probably very tired throughout the days, sleeping more than normal,
Yeah, for sure. For sure.
just because this whole virus thing is getting into their heads. And that's why it's good to sort of like get off the media, and get off the current, like if you're just following what everyone's doing in the world, which is watching the news all day every minute, then you're probably going to go a little bit crazy.
Oh yeah, for sure. Of course. You have to really be careful that you don't like get too into it. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah,
you need to really just turn it off sometimes, because that constant fear mongering or whatever, or fake news and stuff, does eventually get into
get
your
to you.
psyche for sure. Yeah, 100%.
And with that being said, of everyone being home, it is interesting to see that people are implementing work from home solutions.
It is very interesting, because I always have been, or like I was trying to get remote jobs for a while, over the last, I don't know, 5 years or something here in Germany,
Yeah,
and it's so difficult, because even the like newest of startups all want, like, one of the big perks is like, oh, we have this cool office with all these
yeah,
cool things and whatever. We do a home office once a month. It's like once a month, like that's almost nothing. Like, I could probably request that anyways. And now all of a sudden, everybody is capable of work from home, because it's necessary, right? It's it's
yeah,
it's almost mandatory to a degree. Um, and it's interesting how quickly people are mobilizing. But the thing is, we have the tools available to do that now. If this would have happened 20, 30 years ago, people would have much harder time working from home. But because we live in a
yeah,
digital world and we communicate online, and everything is through the internet, WhatsApp is through the internet, Facebook, Slack, Skype, Zoom, email. Basically, we interact with each other on a global scale through the internet, and it's not that hard to implement a work from home solution anymore. There are all these
no,
tools out there for all the different things that you need to do, and you can communicate with your entire team constantly, on an hourly basis, on a minutely basis, as long as everybody is willing to go and change with the
online.
times. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
for
and
sure.
that's also sort of the thing where I wonder if productivity has gone up or down and results due to everything that's going on with people working from home. Like, is everything that has to be done getting done, or are there certain things that are not getting done?
I actually watched a video on this recently, and I also saw another post on this, and the numbers kind of, I think they gathered the numbers from the same source, and it was something along the lines of, there's been like 170% growth in working from home over the last
Yeah,
5 years or so, and productivity actually increases for the people that work from home. It depends if the employees actually work from home or if they abuse it. You know what I mean? So
yeah,
there maybe should still be, performance checks in place, or making sure that people are still working if people
yeah,
need that motivation. A lot of people have trouble motivating themselves to work from home. A lot of people do. and it does require discipline, it does require motivation, so on and so forth. And as long as you as the employees, play along and actually work from home instead of taking this time to watch Netflix all day because nobody's watching over their back,
Yeah.
then I think productivity will even increase, because it's been proven that people that work from home usually don't work maybe the same time frames as they do in the office, but they work longer over the course of the day. So they might not be in the office from 9 to 5 or whatever with a lunch break. They
Yeah.
might, log on and start checking their emails at 7, and then have, take a break for breakfast, and then, work until lunch, take a break for lunch, work, and then maybe have dinner with their family, or like kind of log off earlier, like at 4 or something. And then after the kids are in bed or whatever, if they have a family, then they might get back online and work another hour or two. So I think, honestly, if everybody plays along, and in certain industries, you will see a productivity increase with certain
Yeah.
employees. And the question is will you see an overall trend of productivity going up? And that will be curious. I'm
Yeah, that's
curious
what I
to
was
see what the
saying.
results of that will be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's sort of like the overarching side of it is that for sure, like you're saying, that a lot of people are going to take advantage of it. A lot of people won't do jack diddly squat. But then there's the other side of it that some people actually might be able to thrive in that sort of environment because they're more comfortable, more relaxed. And it's true is that
100%.
sometimes showing up on a schedule can be of a bit of a pain. Like there are some industries, if you're a bank, if you're a supermarket, if you're a retail outlet, if you're certain things, you need to have hours and someone needs to be
Yeah.
physically there, right? So
Yeah.
not
Yeah.
every position can be remote because then you're
Of
going to
course.
lose
Of
on some other
course.
aspect, right? You could for sure
Well,
have
I
a
mean,
receptionist that's maybe a screen and you touch on it and you're at a hotel and then you're talking to a screen. But is it the same thing as talking to someone who's nice and who's in front of you and things like that, right? So like,
you could still theoretically do that if you were to install a hologram into your hotel, and then have
yeah,
somebody sitting at home, talking on their microphone like this, and like interacting like that. So I mean,
yeah, I
you could
guess like you
still
have,
virtualize that experience if you really wanted to. I don't think it's possible in the current state. I think, a lot of modifications would need to be made, but theoretically,
yeah,
I think you could also turn those jobs into remote jobs as well.
yeah. No, I guess there are some people that might enjoy. If you're probably one of the first, like a first comer to that or first creator to the hologram receptionist, let's say, or the hologram whatever
I mean,
position.
it doesn't have to be a hologram. It could be like a robot that you connect to, right? Sitting
Yeah,
at
it could
home,
be.
for
That's what I'm
example.
saying. It could be a robot. It could be a
It could be anything,
hologram.
but like a virtual
Yeah,
reception, sure.
a virtual receptionist of that caliber that is like sophisticated enough, or even like 80% of what a human could do, then that could probably just draw attention by its own, right? People would
Yeah,
like
for
it just
sure.
because it's like they're the first to sort of experience that. So yeah, there's probably some way to pull it off, but then again, me personally, I don't mind the human to human contact.
No, no, of course, of course. I'm not against that either. I'm just saying you could theoretically also virtualize that experience.
Yeah, and with that being said, with like people working from home now, there's probably gonna be a shift in like the whole market of
Oh, 100%.
how companies are going to decide if people actually need, because that's a big cost and or a big overhead for a lot of
Oh,
companies,
100%,
office space,
100%.
right? And then
But
if your office is not located somewhere convenient, then people also don't like that because like, what do you mean I have to go 45 minutes to the middle of nowhere to go work? They don't like that, right? So if you want downtown office space, because that's where everything's going on, it costs a lot of money. So
oh
now
yeah,
they're realizing,
100%.
hey, instead of needing uh 1,000 square meters to fit all these people, we can maybe have 200 square meters to fit the essential, and then everyone else can work from home.
Yeah. Or you rotate it, and you have kind of hot desks, like you do in a co-working space. So people can
Yeah,
choose what days to come in. And you can do a hybrid model because some people want to come in, some people want to interact with their colleagues way more than others, and others might be like, no, I can't really work in an office environment as well as at home because I always get
Yeah,
distracted because people are talking about this and that. Or, a lot of companies nowadays, startups have open office spaces, so you can hear the guy, I don't know, what is that,
yeah,
30
that's
feet down talking to whatever about whatever topic, and that's super distracting, at least for me personally, for example. So
yeah,
that's why I know that I can work better at home, but I know others that are like, no, but like I want to talk to people, I want to talk about what's happening, what's this, what's
yeah,
that. I personally think you can also do that remotely, but I understand that a lot of people really need that constant colleague
interaction.
contact, as you
Yeah.
interaction.
No, that's why. So we're gonna see how things are gonna go. Um, for sure, there's also gonna be a thing. It's gonna be interesting with everyone that has leases right now. What's gonna happen for their months of March and April and May?
I,
See if people are gonna
it
keep
depends.
charging them the same price,
Yeah.
or if things are.
Um, I've heard from different sources now, or different, how do I say that? Like the French government is apparently pausing loans. I would need to double check that. I could Google that probably.
Hmm.
But I believe certain countries are taking measures, right, to like pause loans, to like pause rents and stuff like that. And some rental companies are also, or like landlords are writing to their renters saying like, hey, due to the uncertain times, we're pausing your rent for the next 2 months. And it's
Yeah,
just like totally nice of the landlord to just
to
completely
do that.
cancel out rent for 2 months.
Yeah,
It went viral on Twitter apparently because one landlord did it, and then other landlords were like, "Yeah, thanks for posting that story. I'm going to do the same thing now." So I think it depends. I think a lot of people will still continue charging leases, and in other countries it might just be that you get lucky and that you don't have to pay anything for 2 months or 1 month just
yeah.
because you live in
Because of
in
the
a country that's able
times.
to do that. Yeah, because of the times.
No,
I
and
honestly
with
like this is arguably, maybe because of the media attention, we'll see how it continues, but this
yeah,
is arguably like one of the biggest events that will happen in our lifetime for sure, 100%.
I hope it's not.
It already is.
I'm too young. I want more to happen.
That's why I said
That's
one
also what I
of
was
the.
thinking about. I was like, man, like life is long. It's short, but it's long. So people are like what you're saying right now. This is the biggest thing that's ever happened in our lives. I really hope it's not. Not in
No,
this
no, no.
in
I
the
said
degree.
one. I said one of the
Yeah, yeah.
biggest.
Like not in the degree that everything goes to shit like this. Maybe it goes to shit a different way, or something else happens. But it just has to be, yeah, okay. Maybe this is one of the biggest, but I hope it's not the biggest.
Yeah, me too.
Got to
Likewise.
go out with a
I'm,
bang.
we'll probably see like spaceships landing on Mars and stuff like that before. Well, they already have theoretically, but like
Spaceships landing on
humans,
Mars.
humans
The one that
landing on
I'm gonna
Mars.
that I would cry a little bit about, but then it would probably also get me very excited, is if the whole banking system just collapsed, in the sense of everyone's money just went to zero, and I want to figure out what they're gonna do to figure this one out.
No, bro, I don't think that's a good idea. That would truly cause like worldwide chaos to
Yeah.
levels I don't think we've ever seen before. 100% people would
Well,
panic so
obviously,
hard, and you would see looting. I don't know. That sounds
well,
like a
people would
terrible
panic. The
idea.
guys that had zero would be like, "Welcome to my life," and then the guys
Yeah.
that had,
And billions of
everyone's freaking
dollars.
out now. Really interesting. I've been living like this.
Yeah.
Oh, it sucks, doesn't it?
Welcome.
Yeah, gotcha. Welcome, guys. Oh, is that $2 muffin a bit expensive right now? I got you. Yeah.
No, that's a bad
Nah,
idea. That's
it'd be crazy. That one would be the one where I'd be like, if they're like, hey, we're looking to build a commission of people who are gonna help think about the solution, I'd be like, right here, guys. I'm gonna join that one. I would want to definitely, even in this country right now, I'm like, it's unfortunate that there's no way to sort of the government hasn't created a way that
You muted it. Okay.
that you can like directly communicate with them, like they're just over here isolated doing their own thing.
Yeah.
There's no like there's no feedback really, except for feedback within their circle. And they ask like the ten millionaires and billionaires of the country, hey guys, how are things going? Right? That's how they get like their opinions to do decisions for everything else, every other sector. And is that the right way or the wrong way? Yeah, I guess it makes sense. You talk to the industry leaders to get things done. But there's no way for like, let's say, entrepreneurs or entrepreneurs on like the smaller mid-size scale to sort of engage with them, because there's like they put so many barriers up to do that.
Yeah.
So that's a bit of the unfortunate side, because you have ideas and you have thoughts and good feedback that you can like give them, like, hey, how is the community reacting to the whole thing? What are some of the important things that you feel are needed right now? Oh, I think that we're going to need to have some sort of emergency food supply, especially once people don't have salaries and things like that because of people getting fired because there's no more tourism business, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But instead they're up there in offices, not interacting with the communities and knowing exactly. They're just imagining what people might need. And I even heard this other thing, for example, that there is like a food rationing, or they are giving out food, but supposedly they're giving out like food that is not like
Expired.
acceptable. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
almost like expired foods, right?
That's not good.
So imagine that, like you're hungry and now they're like, oh, yo, here's food, but it's expired food. Now, who knows if maybe it's because they had this set aside for so long that
Yeah.
it just is what it is. And yeah, sometimes the expiration dates on foods are there, but then you still have an extra 6 months or 1 year or 2 years, depending on what type of product it is.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
Yeah.
like these small details that because you have to remember, like, big problems don't start off big most of the time.
It's a lot of small things accumulate to a big problem.
And that's what you want to avoid. You want to avoid these types of things, because in the end it's unfortunate to see anyone suffer, whether it's in an individual or a whole community or a country or global. But that's the thing, is that you need to have like sort of this way to link the opinions and come out with a conclusion that sort of incorporates all of that. That's a
Yeah.
whole other conversation of its own. And yeah, and with that being said, it's like what I'm realizing or what I'm thinking is like, how long is this all gonna last? This whole Corona thing. What are you thinking, David? Is there any new
I don't know,
updates on your
man.
end?
Like,
Has anything been extended?
not that I'm aware of. I mean, the last extension was schools being closed until April 19th.
Oh, okay.
Let's see how it continues. I think they even they didn't put Germany into a lockdown, not an official lockdown, not like they have in France and Italy and Spain, if I'm not mistaken, but they have increased it. So
Yeah.
I think over the weekend. So you can do less things. I haven't really followed like the restrictions because honestly, I'm isolated, very isolated. The
Have
way
you been
it's supposed to
outside
be,
in the
right?
last days?
Of course, I go on my balcony every day. I try to get at least 30 minutes
No,
in.
but
I know that doesn't sound like
I'm not
much, but
saying outside on your balcony. I'm saying like down the stairs of your apartment. I don't know if you live what floor you live on. The third floor?
fourth floor.
Is it
I
a
take
fourth
out the
floor
trash,
building?
Charles. What do you mean? Yeah, it is like third and a
Well, so
half or
have you
something.
gone down to the street?
Yes, I've gone down to the street.
Oh, okay, just in case. I don't know. People say, "Hey, I go on my balcony." I'm like, "All right, this is that outside, outside." I guess it is outside, but
For a lot of people, that's really almost as much as you can do. Like in Italy and Spain right now, like I think you're still allowed to go out for like short walks or something.
yeah,
But I'm not sure if you really can. Like I'd be super sketched if there's police driving outside and stuff, and you have to have an actual reason for it. Like here in Germany, they're like, yeah, you can still go out jogging. You can still go to work.
okay,
You have to have like a legit reason, but like within legit reason is outside exercise as long as you keep distance from others. So,
yeah,
and I
that's
think
good.
that makes a lot of sense.
Sure.
because I think staying healthy and getting sun is helps boost your immune system, and that's actually part of something that can help fight the virus for sure.
Yeah. And actually thinking about it,
So
now it's a good time for you guys in Europe because you're getting out of winter time. So the weather's getting
yeah,
better.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, for sure. I don't know how long it's gonna last. If you look at China and Wuhan specifically, I think it was 2 months of full lockdown before they seem to be reopening now, from what I've been reading,
Yeah.
slowly reopening. Apparently business has continued as usual in a lot of parts of China for like a week and a half now. So if you look at China, I mean, they do take extreme measures. So I don't know, man, maybe another month of this would be my guess before we start seeing some sort of loosening of restrictions. And I think like a lot of places will still remain closed for longer than that. Like the tourism industry, I don't think people will be traveling too much anytime soon, to be
Yeah.
honest. Um, but I think you'll see other type of businesses open up. Maybe sports and events in like 2-3 months, maybe if we're lucky, if we really see the flattening of the curve. But we'll see. I mean, it's still like a lot of countries have only now started implementing a lot of things to try and reduce it. And before that, they let it run. And this thing has like a lag time, right, of like 10-ish days from
Yeah.
what I've seen, what I've heard. So maybe we'll see like a massive increase and only start seeing a decrease in like 10 days for some countries like the US. I think they're only now starting to take measures. The UK, I think, only yesterday announced that they'd be going into lockdown. So I don't know. I think we'll see. We'll definitely see. The death count is rising, as the experts have said it would.
Yeah. That's
Germany
what I'm
seems to be
seeing.
holding pretty stable in terms of death count to total confirmed cases if you compare it to
Because
other
here
countries, which
I see the closed cases, and that's one thing that I was realizing about the percentage is that they say like 85% are recovered / discharged, but then 15% deaths, right, from the closed cases,
15% where, oh, from the closed cases.
right?
But
And
that's
then
because
in
there's
the
still so
active
many open
cases,
cases, right? And there's always more open cases. So that's the thing.
yeah,
It's really hard to say. If you just look at the confirmed cases versus death, I think the average is like what, 2 to 5%. That might even be higher now because of how high Italy is. I think they're at almost 10%.
yeah,
Ouch.
400, say 440. I'm listening, by the
So
way.
I like. It really depends on so many factors. How long this is going to last and how bad it's going to get. And if we can completely eradicate it, like apparently like SARS just disappeared, quote unquote, because it was just they contained it and then they let it just run its course. And that's generally how you want to maybe deal with these things, but because a vaccine is apparently a year away, it might be quicker
Yeah,
though, from what I've been hearing, but we'll see. So the best way to deal with something like that is just to whoever is sick, get it, run their course. Whoever's
yeah,
not sick, stay healthy, and then it just dies by itself, right? Because it only lives because it gets produced from person to person. But if you can do social isolation and kill the virus by not spreading it, that's the way I see it, at least. Like none of this is new. This is obvious, but a lot of people don't see it that way, I think.
people definitely don't see it that way. They're all in the media fear mode right now. I do think some people are getting tired of it because I have been on the beach, and progressively I've noticed more and more and more people.
I mean, the
And
DR, you guys haven't been like locked down for long at all either. I mean, if you look at Italy, they're 2-3 weeks in now. Spain, I
yeah,
think they're on the second plus week.
yeah, we've only been locked down
Like,
since the 5th, after we heard about the lockdown, the 16th of March, I believe. And then they started putting the measures. They put the curfew during that week, so between the week of the 16th to the 20th, I don't know what date. But yes, a little
yeah,
bit, a week and a half or so. And
week
that's
and a
the
half.
thing. They say April 3rd. Well, actually, tonight there's a new the president of the country will be speaking about updates. So let's see if he
Mm,
updates the duration, right? but
We'll see.
that might be a thing.
I don't know. I heard that testing in the Dominican Republic costs like 4,000 pesos, which is 50% of the average monthly salary in the Dominican Republic
Yeah,
to do
I
a
didn't hear
test.
about. I didn't know that they're charging you to be tested. I would have imagined
That's
it's
just
free.
that's what someone posted. So I don't know. Maybe it was just fake news or whatever. From like a Dominican friend of mine was writing that.
Interesting. Yeah, that'd be pretty
Yeah.
crazy if they're charging you that much money to get tested. I'd be like, well, if I'm sick, I'm sick then.
Yeah, it's like $100, almost $80 or something like that.
Yeah, what are you gonna go tell me to do? Go home and sleep?
Crazy.
I'll just do that in any case. No, that's why. So we'll see. You're predicting at least a month more minimum, and
Yeah, I
that's
mean,
in
we'll see. I
regards
mean,
to
we might in regards to like the feeling of the world slowing down to such a degree. I think maybe it'll be a month before they start like business close to normal, quote unquote. That's my guesstimate, right? I could be completely off,
yeah,
and this is just my opinion. I could be completely wrong, but I think it's going to be like a month before, like certain factories start getting up, restaurants start operating normal. I think there'll still be like you have to maintain a certain amount of distance. Maybe it might not be two
yeah,
meters, but I think a lot of restrictions will be lifted. I think some will still be put in place, and I think some might even stay forever. We'll see. But yeah, it's going to be interesting because a lot of people's mind was just shifting within like a few weeks
yeah,
in terms of like what's even possible, right? Because I like if you would have told me 2 3 months ago like the world's going to shut down, you won't be able to fly from Germany. You like most countries are like not most countries, but a lot of countries are restricting flight from Europe.
yeah,
You know what I mean? Like the standard or like the United States, a standard. Like you can't fly, you can't travel openly anymore. And a lot of countries are basically police states now, like Italy and stuff. I mean, it's emergency states, quote unquote, but it is basically a police state. You
yeah.
can't go outside without like a real reason, and if you do, you get fined and so on and so forth. So it's effectively a police state. Like I think it's a good thing that the lockdown is happening in places that need it, but I'm curious to see how much we'll leave that behind. How much of that we'll leave behind. I think the people will notice if certain countries do try to implement a police state, like a lot of preppers
Yeah.
are afraid of, maybe in the U.S. and so on and so forth. But overall, I think a monthish until we start returning to some form of normalcy.
1 month. All right. So that's April 25th ish. Me, I'm thinking, well, to return to normal where people are going to be able to go outside, businesses are going to be able to open, things of that nature, possibly around that April 15, May 1st, maybe. That might be some of the earlier dates. But for example, for our tourism industry to come back, um, easily we might have, maybe we start getting in some flights June, like May, June, we start getting in new flights.
It's like
But
3 months,
I do think that the real tourism potentially can come back like November, December.
probably even after that. To be honest, like to get back to 100%, I think will take like a 2 to 3
To
years
get
to be
back to
to be a
100%, no,
hundred to get
then
back to
forget it.
like to
Yeah,
be honest,
we'll be looking at
it's gonna take
wait,
years.
yeah, another year.
Because
Like
everybody,
go,
everybody, like people that have money to go on vacations, they're probably going to be saving that money for the coming months, right? A lot of people. So the
well, the
money that
people
you
that
might
have,
have, like the extra 2 or 3K that you have to go on vacation, a lot of people might have, um, or that are saving up for like this awesome vacation next year. They're going to have to
yeah,
use that money to survive for the next, month, two
yeah.
months, 3 months, and then they won't have that money to go on vacation next year, and then they'll have to work to stock up on that cash again, right? So
Well, that's the
it's
thing.
gonna
So depending
take a
on what
while.
type of, what category you're talking about of
Of
tourism,
course,
like I
of
think the high
course,
end tourism will for sure come back a lot
100%.
quicker. because
100%.
those guys have the resources. They just like
Yeah,
can't fly
they have
around, or
money.
they're
Yeah,
scared, or whatever it is, right? But then
yeah,
you have like the lower mid class tourism that,
yeah.
well, the
That's what
lower
I mean.
class tourism is completely done,
Yeah,
sort of, though, because a lot of these airlines and a lot of these hotels are creative where they make payment plans now, right?
yeah,
So they might just make longer payment plans. Hey, instead of paying $150 a month, you can pay $37 a month for the next 3 years,
yeah.
right? So they might get a little bit more creative in that aspect of things. But for sure, it's going to be a long time before, at least, for example, here, we see it come back to any sort of regular functioning status, let's
Yeah.
just say. But it is what it is. And that's why we just see, every day it's good that we have sort of these logs about everything that is going on, because it's a way to sort of document history. Like you said, this is
In
one
a
of the
way, yeah.
biggest. Sorry.
In a way, yeah. I find it interesting to watch the video from like, I don't know, 3 weeks ago or something now, which is crazy if you think about it. Or like even just 12, 14 days ago, and how like the mindset that we had then and the mindset that we have now about where this is going and stuff like that. It's crazy. Like, I don't think anybody could have truly predicted this. I mean, some people probably haven't had an idea, but
Well, yeah, some people maybe had an idea. We don't know who. Some people
I mean, there are videos good dating back multiple years where virologists and others
were
in that are
hinting.
interested in that topic were hinting and suggesting like then like the next pandemic is it's probably coming. There's a high probability of it happening, and we're not prepared, or like we're not ready for this. Like if it happens, we need to start getting prepared. We got lucky that like SARS, we got lucky that Ebola did. Oh, if Ebola would have broken out, we would have been royally fucked, I think, and like managed to stop that from spreading, and a few other things over the last 100 years. But yeah, this is kind of what they were predicting in terms of a disease that spreads like crazy and is relatively deadly.
Relatively. No, it's fine. It's an interesting time that we're in.
Well, I
And
mean, if you look at this Spanish flu, they also only had like a 2% mortality, only quote unquote, but it infected so many people that it killed millions and millions, 20, 30 million people or something,
yeah,
because almost everybody got infected.
I have a feeling that might not happen on this one. Hopefully not.
No, it's
Now we have it on document,
same.
where
Yeah,
if it does happen, then I'll be like, shit, I need to really stop saying things, because there are certain things that I did predict like maybe a week or two ago that are starting to happen, and I'm like, maybe I should just stop predicting them. Like what I think we were saying, I was
just
like, I'm gonna start
if you
predicting good things, because I'm always on the worst case scenario part, right? But I'm gonna start being on the. I'm maybe gonna keep the worst case scenario thoughts like somewhere shut behind 10 doors in my head, and
gotta
only
focus on the
focusing.
optimism, like the
Yeah, only focus on the
optimistic side of
optimism
things.
one. Tourism will come back tomorrow. Everything will be back.
Tomorrow.
Yeah,
Well,
everything will be back.
realistic optimism, I think is the key word.
Realistic optimism. No, but that's good.
Yeah.
It's good, and it's an interesting thing for businesses. And I think there's going to be a whole mind shift and industry shift with this whole situation, just from the way people decide like work from home situations and solutions, as well as the need for office space, which is like the overhead of having office space. And with that, it's definitely gonna, this had like impacts that are rippling through different phases and facets of life in a way. Like, it's not only the economy side, it's not only the psychological side. Now it's also gonna be on like, well, I guess the psychological side sort of does consider behavior, but like maybe on the behavior side and decision side of like companies, individuals, and everything. even some people that are home right now, just all this like sort of time off forced is making them think about all types of things, like about their work, their life, what's important to them, what's not important to them, and like it's definitely having an impact all around. So with that being said, it's going to be definitely, as we sort of recover or come out of this, I think we're going to come out different animals.
Oh, 100%. And that's what I mean. And it's just happening quickly. I think it's accelerating certain things. And it's causing a lot of people to wake up to the world we live in and the
Yes.
possibilities that the current digital world allows everybody almost to have.
Yeah. No, it's definitely just that what you're saying is that it's just having, it's gonna have it's an eye opener, and with that, with our eyes being open, it's a good thing, and the shift is needed because a lot of things don't make sense. There's certain things that doesn't make sense that you're sitting there for 8 hours a day, right?
Oh,
There
100%.
or longer. So it's just like, why do that? Just because everyone else is doing that doesn't mean that it's the right thing to do. There's no there's like, we have like strange ways of measuring, like we have strange ways of, I don't know what the term is, like honor, like the code of honor, for working, right? People are like, oh, longer hours I put, more hours I put, less like all this stuff, like the measurables that we have to show a dedicated person to an undedicated person, or a smart person to a not smart person, like all these sort of like
Societal,
measure.
yeah, I was going to say societal norms is, I think, the word that
Yeah,
you're looking
maybe that
for.
societal norms, like some of them don't make sense. So, and there's no reason that you should live to that if that's also not how you perform, or not how to be most efficient, right? Because in the end, the most important part is, I'm not gonna, I don't want to sound corny, like being happy, but it's just like having a way of living that makes sense to you, right?
Yeah.
And a lot of people, they don't sort of like try to work towards that, or they don't think about it. It's sort of like what we were talking about in the beginning with the nutrition, right? You're sort of observing how your body works, trying to optimize it, understand it, and things like this. A lot of people don't reflect on their lives, and they don't try to optimize their lives in any way. Like they're maybe doing a lot of things they don't like, or they're doing more of the things, they're maybe having a balance, but the balance is off. They're doing more things they don't like and less things that they do like, and they should just
Yeah.
flip it upside down. Do a little bit more of what you like, and it actually might make you better at things you don't like so much,
Yeah.
per se. But that's a whole nother thing. And I don't know. Any closing thoughts with this?
Not really. Let's see how it continues.
There we
Every
go.
new day brings new crazy things and new adventures.
Sound like an old dude right there. Every new day, and then like
Bro,
I was about to be some
like
wisdom.
sometimes I feel so old. It's crazy. And
Yeah,
other days I feel so young.
you have to figure out why that is. Is it because you woke up on the left side, on the right side? Did you exercise, not exercise? What did
Yeah.
you do? What makes you feel
I
old?
felt
What
old
makes you
for a
feel
while,
young?
and that's the thing. I've only started feeling younger again recently because I've started exercising. And I
Well,
think
there you go.
nutrition is part of what's missing, and I'm working on that now.
Yeah. No, it definitely takes a toll on you. Like I've said, I've been testing it out, and don't get me wrong, the food tastes good, all this stuff tastes good, but you just feel it on your body. You're like, man, those extra pounds here, how you're, at least how my body's like cycling the food, all this, like it's interesting. I'm like, yeah, sure, that chocolate, whatever chocolate chip cookie tasted good, but had some other repercussions with it. So
Yeah.
that's all it is just being aware of it, and awareness is key, being conscious is key, but a lot of people just don't want to take time on doing that. So
Yeah.
it is what it is, but everyone will figure it out in the end for themselves. And I think this event is having, not waking up the whole society or the whole world, but it is waking up a few people, and those few people that are awoken, or that are woke, like some people say,
Woke. Woke.
um, are definitely gonna maybe shift the whole arena for a lot of people.
Oh, for sure. For sure. This is definitely going to impact the trajectory of how
the world.
our daily lives, our daily lives go about.
Well,
Sure.
David, it was a pleasure speaking with you today. I do have to go to a meeting that is happening, so
I know.
it is what it is. But we'll for sure be in contact for the next conversation.
Yeah, man. Have a good one.
Don't get the virus.
Peace. I probably won't.
Probably won't. Hopefully not. All right, David.
Peace, man.
See you.